those special circumstances are lying in wait. That Celeste went to Mr. Burke's home on the night of April 23rd, 2025.
Why can't niggas just date their own fucking age, bro? I don't like... David faces horrific new charges and teens dismemberment. Wow, bro. I did not think that this shit would get... I mean, it's already dark. It was probably really fucking obvious that he murdered her, in my opinion. I think he was guilty since the beginning. She was found in a Tesla in the front of his house, rotting in the front trunk of his Tesla. Obviously, like, he was fucking guilty. You know what I'm saying? You know, the only reason why I would say, like, it took this long for this to even happen in the first place is the police have probably had to gather, like, so much information to make sure that, like, you know, that they're, like, you know, like, David's lawyer can't, like, counterattack, and to, you know what I'm saying, and to avoid charges and that kind of shit, and so that he gets less of a sentence. But apparently this nigga got the fucking death penalty, bro. Like, he, like, straight up, like, and honestly, bro, do I think he deserves it? Shit, I don't know. He probably fucking does. Let's be honest. He probably fucking does. Why am I even questioning that?
A parent's nightmare is a situation where your daughter goes out one night and never comes back. Their grief is uncalculable.
The LA County District Attorney has just made a big decision regarding criminally charging singer David in connection with the murder of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. It was a shocking press conference where we learned never before heard details of this case and investigation, and where some of the questions
this is how the FBI needs to be. This is how the FBI needs to be, bro. Like, it's crazy how people like Diddy and Trump and Epstein and all these fucking people can get away with their heinous ass shit or corrupted ass government, bro. But like the average citizen who commits a crime, it's immediate death penalty. It needs to be the same for the top 1% too, bro. Like, they need the same fucking treatment, bro. I'm sorry for that tangent,
we have had
but
for the last 7 months have
that's
been answered. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Hey, real quick, before we go any further, I gotta tell you about this app that I think you're gonna love. It's our partner, Upside. So Upside gets you cash back. Yes, extra.
You know, it's funny, I actually have this fucking app on my phone. This video is not sponsored by Upside, but it is a great way to save money on gas, though. I be using that shit. I'm not gonna fucking lie. I'm just gonna go ahead and, you know, skip that. Thank you.
Nathan Hochman. This is in conjunction with the LAPD. In this room, they were flanked by a mugshot, a new mugshot of David, and a picture of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. We have finally learned whether David will be criminally charged and with what. And remember, this comes on the heels of what we reported last week, the arrest of the 21-year-old romantic homicide singer on suspicion of the murder of 14-year-old Celeste.
And he's a PDF file.
Celeste Rivas Hernandez. 7 months ago, her reported decomposed and dismembered body was found in the trunk of a car reportedly registered to the singer. And it was confusing because he was arrested but not charged last week. And we thought that's strange because our reporting was, and we saw this from TMZ and other outlets, that a grand jury had reportedly been hearing evidence for quite some time in this case when the arrest came down. So why was he arrested and not charged? And we speculated and wondered, did the grand jury...
From what I heard, the reason why it took him so long to charge him and do all that, it was because they were trying to gather as much information as they could to make sure that when it came to when it came to actual court itself, like, the lawyer just couldn't, you know, they were pretty much just fine. They were trying to find, you know how Batman has, like, contingency plans for, like, fucking everything? That's pretty much what these niggas was doing, right? Like, they were making it so that they could seal the deal and get as much of the biggest punishment they can give. And that's what all these investigations should be like that, bro. Like, if they're guilty, of course. If you're innocent, then, of course, right, you're innocent. But, like, you know what I'm saying? But, like, it's so obvious that he was so fucking guilty, bro. Just like Diddy, he was guilty, too.
Jury not believe there was enough evidence to charge him with a crime. Maybe it wasn't a grand jury with the power to indict. Maybe just to hear evidence and lock in testimony. Maybe they were still hearing evidence when the arrest came down. And that's why you saw, and we've heard this a little bit from TMZ too, whether or not the LAPD and the DA, maybe their offices were not on the same page. You go to this press conference, that was not the case. I'll get to it in a second. So remember what also happened last week. The LAPD, the PIO, released a statement. Detectives from Los Angeles Police Department Robbery Homicide Division have arrested David Burke, a 21-year-old resident of Los Angeles, for the murder of Celeste Rivas. Burke is being held without bail. The case will be presented to the district attorney's office on Monday for filing consideration. That's today. Now, this also came in from the LA County District Attorney's Office last week. Greg Reisling. Good evening. Our office is aware of the arrest of David Anthony Burke by the Los Angeles Police Department. The case is expected to be presented to the Major Crimes Division, at which point prosecutors will review the facts and evidence to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to file charges. At this time, additional information is not available. We will share an update on Monday once a filing decision has been made. So you hear that language and you wonder, again, were they on the same page? Now, LAPD Captain Scott Williams told NBC last week regarding David's arrest at this home in the Hollywood Hills, "We did the best we can to keep tabs on him, but once we developed probable cause to arrest him for murder, then we were on him pretty diligently." And he told the California Post they had a probable cause warrant with them when they made the arrest. And there were photos of armed police outside the residence making the arrest. Per reporting from the California Post, David appeared to be in handcuffs. He was led away. A neighbor told the outlet there were so many cops. There was apparently an officer.
God damn, bro. Nigga woke up one morning and there was just 30 fucking cops in his front door, bro.
On a loudspeaker shouting surrender. It was a big
What
scene.
the fuck?
We also heard from David's attorneys. So Blair Burke, Marilyn Benarski, and Regina Peter, they released a statement saying, "Let us be clear, the actual evidence in this case will show that David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and he was not the cause of her death. There has been no indictment returned by any grand jury."
You know, dead body sitting in a fucking car for a year, by the way.
In this case, and no criminal complaint filed, although you'll hear Nathan Hochman maybe suggest otherwise about a criminal complaint. David has only been detained under suspicion. We will vigorously defend David's innocence. Now, again, this was from last week. We got to talk about what happened today. Okay? By the way, before I even get into today, TMZ reported that their source told them that the ME, the medical examiner's office, determined Celeste's manner of death to be homicide. Okay? Takes us now to today. Los Angeles District Attorney Nathan Hochman held a press conference alongside members of the LAPD, including Scott Williams, who I mentioned before, even indicated Beth Silverman will be the lead prosecutor on this case, which is interesting because we had previously reported she was the one who was apparently presenting evidence to this grand jury. She's a career prosecutor, particularly in homicide cases. And this was the moment, after 7 months, when Nathan Hochman announced the charging decision for David Anthony Burke. David.
Today, I am announcing the charges.
That's crazy. This nigga is 21 years old. Murdered a whole ass girl because he was trying to protect his image like the fucking coward that he is. You
David
fucking
Anthony
loser.
Burke, the musician known as David, spelled D4vd, in connection with the brutal and horrific murder of Celeste, a 14-year-old at that time. These charges include the most serious charges that a DA's office can bring. That is first-degree murder with special circumstances. The special circumstances being lying in wait, committing this crime for financial gain, or murdering a witness in an investigation. These special circumstances carry with it, along with the first-degree murder charge, a maximum sentence of life without the possibility of parole or the death penalty.
Okay. I thought he was going to get the death penalty. That's what I thought. That's what I heard. But it's either he's going to get the death penalty or he's going to get that. I'm not going to lie, bro. I mean, regardless, you're still fucked, my boy.
The determination on whether or not the district attorney's office will seek the death penalty.
Like, really think about it, bro. Really ruined his whole life and his whole career over just being a fucking weirdo, bro. Like, it's just that simple.
Will be made at a later time. Before I get into the actual charges, and there are additional charges against Mr. Burke, including continuous sexual acts, lewd and lascivious sexual acts with an individual under 14 years old, and mutilating a human remains of a body. Before I get into the description of these charges and their seriousness, I want to look at this as a parent. I am a parent of 3 children, and a parent's nightmare is a situation where your daughter goes out one night and never comes back.
Fuck.
As we will show in a court of law, and what I also want to make sure about that the understanding of these charges is clear, is my description of these charges is not evidence that we are going to present in court. These charges, in fact, will not be evidence in the court. Evidence will be the witness testimony, the documents, and different types of admissible testimony that we will admit into court in the prosecution, and if it leads to the eventual trial of Mr. Burke, to convince a jury of 12 people beyond a reasonable doubt that each and every one of these charges is true, as well as the special allegations and circumstances that have been alleged.
Okay, first of all, we suspected that David would be charged with murder after that was what he was arrested for, and in other court documents that came out a couple months ago, we know that he was being investigated for murder. But first-degree murder with special circumstances? Lying in wait to kill? Murdering a witness as part of an investigation?
Yeah, it was all premeditated. Like, it was this was all premeditated. Like, he planned this shit for like step by step, bro. Like, yes, you know, honestly, I'm not surprised death penalty is on the table. Honestly, there's people in this country that deserve that same punishment as well. You know what I'm saying?
Like, it's for financial gain, and now facing the possibility of the death penalty, even though it's my understanding there is a moratorium on executions in California. That is a huge deal. Yeah. And in a minute, we're going to get to the reasons
that's crazy, bro.
The DA believes the evidence purportedly shows that. But what you're seeing are different alternative theories on how to prove the murder charge here. And clearly, they believe David is at the center, that David is the one responsible. Now, to be clear, he is innocent until proven guilty.
True. He is innocent until proven guilty. But that doesn't mean that I don't think he's guilty, nigga. The fuck?
And we don't know the exact evidence that the prosecution is going to produce. But also, the sex charges? This is something we have talked about before. Steve Fisher, the private investigator who has been representing the owner of the property where David had reportedly been staying at in the Hollywood Hills, reportedly near where the Tesla was found, he has been saying for months that David could already be charged with sex crimes. That aside from the alleged murder, that there's evidence that David was allegedly having a relationship with a minor. And you heard Nathan Hochman say continuous, meaning more than one time over a period of time. And you're going to hear later when Hochman talks about digital evidence. Are we suggesting here text messages showing this relationship? Photos? Videos? Witness statements of those around the two, maybe? And I'll tell you what, this is the part of the press conference where Hochman talks more about the alleged crimes, and he goes into the different theories. Again, lying in wait, murdering a witness. Take a look.
On April
paying off people to cover up his bullshit, too.
23rd, 2025, has been alleged by the complaint. Celeste, a 14-year-old at that time, went to Mr. Burke's house in the Hollywood Hills. She was never heard from again. On September 8th, 2025, as alleged in the complaint, Miss Celeste's remains, her dismembered and decomposed remains, were found in 2 bags inside of a front trunk of a car registered to Mr. Burke. Thereafter began an investigation. The investigation was to determine who killed, who murdered Celeste months and months before. That investigation was carried out in unison and in partnership between the LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division and the District Attorney's Office. At every point in the investigation, through the arrest and the filing of charges, the LAPD and the District Attorney's Office have...
The fact that people, like, protect this motherfucker, David, too. Like there's actually people who are defending David. Like, they're fans of him. And they, like, think that he's innocent in that. Like, no, bro. Like, no. Like, you're not... There's no way you're defending this. There's no way you can defend this. There's just no way. You know what I mean? Of course, when you're in a court and you're a judge, you can't be biased, right? Like, I get that shit. You know what I'm saying? But, like, bro.
worked in lockstep. There's been no disagreements amongst these entities in deciding how to proceed with this case, ultimately leading to these charges today. So what you have as well with these charges is that, again, there are 3 sets of charges that have been brought. The first-degree murder with special circumstances, and again, those special circumstances are lying in wait. That Celeste went to Mr. Burke's home on the night of April 23rd, 2025, as alleged in the complaint, at his invitation, and again, was not heard from again. The second is a special circumstance.
Why can't niggas just date their own fucking age, bro? I don't like this like I'm a senior and I want to date a fucking middle schooler shit is so weird to me. It's so weird how motherfuckers do that shit. Why though? Like why? Like, you know, like it's just
Being that this murder
this is
was
like
committed
it's like
for financial
mind-boggling.
gain. As the evidence will show in court, the financial gain was for Mr. Burke
Okay, they're saying the
to
same thing.
maintain his very lucrative musical career that Celeste was threatening on that particular night. The third charge, in addition to lying in wait and for financial gain, is murdering a witness to an investigation. In this particular case, as the evidence will come out in court, the witness to the investigation was Celeste. And the investigation was into the lewd and lascivious sexual acts committed by Mr. Burke that is the subject of count 2 of this complaint with Celeste while she was under 14 years old.
Wow. So it seems a fair interpretation would be she allegedly goes to this house, this property, that David, you know, they're going to be saying allegedly lured her there, or got her there, invited her there. And either he allegedly wanted her there because he planned to kill her, again, if the allegations are true, these are the allegations put forward, but that she was what? Planning on going public or telling someone about their relationship? Planning to go to authorities about this relationship? I don't know. But that this was essentially going to risk his career. So he alleged.
I think he had a panic moment. He realized that like if this shit were to ever come out, he would be fucked. And so you know what he did? He lured her and he murdered her. I think that's what he did. Of course, alleged. This is all alleged, bro. You know what I'm saying, of course. But apparently he was charged for murder, at least. But you know, like I don't know, bruh. There's something about this motherfucker we don't know. And you were dismembering the body. You left her in a fucking car rotting. Like, what were you gonna gain from this shit, bro?
Actually kills her to keep
Like,
her
what?
quiet, make sure his album, his endorsements, his
I think it was that too. I think he wanted to like. I think he did it to just protect his fucking career. It's 100% what it is, bro.
tour wouldn't be affected. I'm wondering if that's going to be the argument. I wonder if that's going to be the theory of the case, and I assume that's going to be the argument. Now, how will they prove that? How will they prove that intent based on the circumstances and timing of this alleged killing? Text messages, witness statements? We shall see. But again, different theories here. And remember, I just go back to this, and I don't know if this for sure, but during the grand jury, it was reported by certain outlets that this record executive had testified. I mean, again, allegedly, what do the people around David know? What were they told? What did they communicate to him about his career, about his finances? Just things I'm thinking about right now. And then we go into where Hochman talks about Celeste's family.
I had the chance to meet with some of the family members of Celeste. And their grief is uncalculable as to what happened.
Oh my gosh, the family, bro, too. They're so like distraught. You know what I'm saying? Like their own daughter was, you know, murdered and dismembered and left in a car, fucking rotten, hidden for over a year. Like, bro, it's like
To their daughter. What they have demanded, what we have assured them that the district attorney's office working with LAPD would give them is the idea, is the proof beyond a reasonable doubt on who killed their daughter, on how their daughter was killed, when their daughter was killed, and bring that killer to justice.
right.
That killer that we have now charged is David Anthony Burke.
Now, at one point, Nathan Hochman brings on LAPD Chief of Police Jim McDonnell, who not only talks more about the investigation, but also addresses the frustration the public has had with law enforcement regarding this case and a lack of public comments or transparency.
So what I've heard is, I said at the beginning of the video, The reason why it took them so long to do all this was because they were trying to gather as much information as they could to, basically just prevent counterattacks and counter with David's lawyer, and so that he doesn't avoid. They're basically just trying to make it so that he has no way out. Like they can 100% prove him guilty. You know what I'm saying?
Transparency.
That's all it
Throughout
is.
the 7-month investigation,
I'm gonna speed this up.
department has faced criticism for how we handled the case and for our decision not to provide details. I want to be clear about something. My duty is not to fuel speculation. It's to deliver justice, and that requires patience and discipline on everybody's part. This investigation was driven by a single purpose: to secure justice for Celeste Rivas and for those who loved her. We had to be certain that nothing we did or said would ever jeopardize this case. Ms. Rivas was a reported runaway from Riverside County. During the course of our investigation, detectives learned that she had been involved in a sexual relationship with Mr. Burke when she was a minor and he was an adult. On April 23rd, 2025, Ms. Rivas
Fucking
arrived
disgusting.
at Mr. Burke's home in the Hollywood Hills. That's the last time she was known to be alive. On September 8th, 2025, Ms. Rivas' dismembered and badly decomposed body was discovered in the front trunk of Mr. Burke's impounded Tesla. From that moment forward, our investigators faced an extraordinary, difficult, and complex case. The condition of her remains delayed the medical examiner's ability to be able to determine cause of death. The substantial amount of time that passed between her death and the discovery meant that crucial evidence had degraded or disappeared. And as detectives worked to uncover the truth, they also had to sift through and debunk a great deal of false information circulating publicly. These challenges were real, and they required patience, precision, and an unwavering commitment to the facts. Despite these obstacles, and despite intense public pressure, our Robbery Homicide Division detectives remained steadfast in their duties. They recovered and analyzed a substantial amount of digital and forensic evidence. They stayed focused, disciplined, and committed to uncovering the truth. Their work, in close collaboration with the District Attorney's Office, has brought us to this moment today. I want to thank the District Attorney and his team, as always, for their partnership. This case demanded coordination, persistence, and a shared commitment to justice.
And that makes sense. He's not wrong. You don't want to say too much that could jeopardize a case. Give a criminal
Yeah, it gives like it makes it easier for David to be able to defend himself in court. Like you know what I'm saying? So I get that. I get that. You know what I mean? I'll be honest, it did look sketchy as fuck though. Like it was just weird how like they weren't like disclosing anything or nothing like that. But to be fair, they was just doing their job. They was just trying to do what they can to make sure he can't run away from his,
defendant ammunition to say the investigation was tainted or the prosecution is tainted or that you had blinders on and we're only looking at one person without looking at exculpatory evidence. But you also have more about cause of death, right? Which hasn't been publicly released because of a court order. The medical examiner's records have been sealed. In fact, Hochman took questions about a lot of things, and he took questions about this. And he talked about how details of the allegations regarding the special circumstances, they're going to be produced in court. He didn't talk so much about it, but he did talk a little bit more about the coroner's report.
So with respect to the coroner's report, we will be seeking quite quickly to provide an order to the court that now allows the coroner to release that report to the public.
So once that report is released, and we will see what the coroner's finding or conclusion is, that's going to be a piece of the puzzle. I mean, I hate to say this, but again, it's tough to think about cause of death and how you analyze that when you're dealing with reportedly dismembered and decomposed remains. So could they be able to determine, let's say, asphyxiation or poisoning,
bro. I mean,
or blunt force trauma or a gunshot wound? And I don't even want to think about this, but was the cause of death the alleged dismemberment? And by the way, you heard the defense attorney say he's not the cause of death. Is that because they have their own interpretation of what the cause of death could be?
I mean, there was like when this case like first came out, it was like a rumor that he hired someone to do his bidding for him, that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I'm gonna go watch. I'm gonna go pull up the fucking the actual court case of him getting charged. Yeah, man, bro. So these are his charges, man. So it's first-degree murder with special circumstances, the continuous sexual abuse of a minor, and mutilation of human remains, bro. To be honest, bro, I think this nigga's cooked, bro. I don't think he's gonna get out of this one, bro. I'm just gonna keep it a bean, but apparently there's been tons of information that have been coming out, that talk about, the nigga's sick as fuck, bro. Like, that's just what it is, bro. Like, but anyways, bro, I'm gonna end it here, bro. This video is getting kind of fucking long. I don't want this shit to get too long for y'all, but I hope you have a good breakfast, a good dinner, and good night, man. I love y'all, man, bro. If more information comes on this, which probably will, I will, make more reactions on it. You know what I'm saying? I love you guys, man.